Hey everyone, welcome to MedEnt Minutes, the podcast that explores EHR optimization and how practices can excel in value based care. I'm Megan Chapman, the Director of Marketing and Communications here at MedEnt, and today we're speaking with my colleague Sarah Reister about text to pay. So, Sarah, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to talk about our text to pay feature and always appreciate the opportunity to educate our clients and just everyone on some of the awesome features that our software has to offer.
Yes, absolutely. And before we get started talking about text to pay, I just was wondering what are some of the things you do here at Meta and how long have you been with the company?
Yeah, so I've been with MedEnt for, gosh, it's been about 16 years. I kind of had to go back and do a little math. Time flies, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I started in our medical content library department, which is a really great department to start in because it gives you a really good foundation for the software, for documentation. And I started around the time that we were developing our online patient portal. So I became the team leader of that as a new department, worked there for years, and then within the past 5 or 6 years, I've moved to our project development department. So within project development, I've been able to work on some really great projects like our online scheduling, our patient pre-check-in, and of course our integration with global payments. So it's been a very fun transition from working on the patient portal, one of our features that is patient facing. So you really have to think about user friendliness and the patient experience and taking that knowledge and transferring it to more new modern platforms like our pre-check-in and our integration with global payments. And what we're going to talk about today, which is our text to pay. It really doesn't get any more convenient and modern for the patient than that. But we will get
Yeah.
into that later.
Yeah, no, text to pay has been a really amazing feature with our global payments integration. And especially now because, USPS is increasing their rates. And I'm wondering what does this postage increase mean for Menet clients?
Yeah, so just like, it's going to cost more for everyone to mail a letter, unfortunately, it's going to cost more for our clients to mail those paper statements. So that's why now more than ever, it's important to look at electronic options that take out that additional cost factor of the postage. There are some things that we don't have control over the cost and it can increase, which we're continuing to see with postage rates, where with some of our more modern options like text to pay, we are able to keep consistently low rates, which is just a wonderful offering for our clients.
Yeah, and tell me what is text to pay?
So text to pay is a feature that we have through our global payments integration. It is built into our statement sending process. So it allows you to send a patient their statement electronically via text or email. So again, not only are you avoiding the postage cost, the paper cost, the cost on the environment of the paper. But in addition to their statement, they have a convenient link for them to pay online, and that link is specific to that patient, the balance that they owe. They can pay on the go from their mobile device. So it's kind of a two-part win-win where you get your statement electronically, but you can also pay online.
Yeah, and and not even just with your mobile device, you can get it through email too, right?
Exactly. Yep. Text or email, whichever the patient prefers, whatever is most convenient for them.
Yeah. And it's not just about cost savings as far as text to pay goes. It's actually about modernizing the patient experience. Is that right?
Exactly. And kind of going back to your original question, that is what I have seen throughout my time with Meta, and it's how we are modernizing the features that we offer, and that includes the features that our clients are able to offer to their patients. So there is nothing more modern and convenient than being able to pay your bill right from your mobile phone, whether you get a text or an email. You can do it while you're waiting in line. It just fits really well into modern lifestyles and the convenience that patients are used to with being able to do things online quickly and easily.
Absolutely. And then as far as the savings goes, I'm no math expert here, but I did want to try to do some math here. So basically, if you're sending 1,000 paper statements a month, the cost, starting Sunday will be it's what, $1.09 for the first page of a paper statement.
Correct. Yep. And then I believe it's 9 cents for additional pages. It's
Okay,
something
so
around there.
So to keep things simple, let's say each, you're sending 1,000 paper statements a month. To keep it simple, we'll pretend those are just one page. For 1,000 paper statements, that comes to $1,090 a month. And then if you sent those statements via text or email with text to pay, so 1,000 statements at 20 cents a statement, that's just $200 a month. So if my math is right, you'd be saving almost $900 a month, which, over the span of a year can be over 10 grand. I mean, that's a significant savings, especially for a smaller practice or, um, you know, these savings really can go a long way. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah. And that's a wonderful breakdown because it is so easy, especially when things are so expensive now. We constantly see prices increase, by dollar amounts to look at $1.09 and 20 cents and be like, yeah, that's a good cost savings. But I'm used to sending paper statements. It's a workflow our office is used to. But when you really break it down, you're getting about an 80% discount on each statement that you choose to send electronically versus paper. And then, like you've just broken down, that savings just compounds. And it just gets better and better the more statements that you send. So it's a great way not only for our smaller offices to really see some savings in what they're spending on statements, but then our larger organizations that are sending numbers I can't even imagine of statements out,
Yeah.
that savings just gets larger and larger.
And like you said, some practices may be a little reluctant because they've always sent paper statements. They're comfortable with the workflow. Let's talk about the text to pay workflow and how simple it really could be. Can you tell me a little bit about how the workflow works with text to pay?
Yeah, so we, like with anything new that we add in Medent, we don't want to necessarily change the way your office is doing something because we do understand the time and resources that it can take into training staff. And no one likes change. Like, let's be honest, we're all human. So anytime we add something new, we really try and make it as painless as possible. And that's what we've done with text to pay. So I think it's very important to note that when it comes to sending text or email statements, that whole process is built right into your current statement sending process. So just like when you go to send a paper statement, a file goes and it's off your plate. With text to pay, after that file for paper statement send, the text and email statement send, and that's off your plate as well. So that's kind of the larger picture of how the statements are going to go themselves. It's also important to note the patient education piece of this, and patient education is always an important part of any of the patient facing features that we offer. You're going to get better adoption if the patient is on board, if they're aware of it, and if they understand it. So the other part of text to pay is opting patients in to receive their statement via text or email. For regulations, you can't just start sending them that information electronically. They do need to at least be made aware that, hey, instead of getting a paper, you're going to get a text or email. And not only is that good from a compliance standpoint, but it's also letting the patient know, hey, look out for your text or email. You can confirm the address or the phone number that it's sending to. And it speaks very highly of your office that you are doing the best you can to offer patients features that they want to make their life easier. So when we're talking about the patient opt-in process, that is very easily built into our patient information screen in MedEnt. Some offices will refer to it as the registration screen. So this is that area where you are reviewing things with the patient, like their phone number, like their address, maybe their balance. So really any conversation you have with the patient in that screen, you can easily tell them, hey, we now will text you your statement, or you can give them the option of, would you like to receive your statement via text? And you easily change their settings in there so they will receive a text for their statement, either in addition to paper or instead of paper. And again, there's the email option as well. And that's a one-time process. And when you run your statements, it's going to read right from that area for every single patient. So again, it's another kind of, I've done this, I can check it off my list, it's taken care of. Now, when it comes to the full circle of it, when the patient gets that text or email with their statement, they click the link, they make their payment. It comes right into Meta as a receipt status super bill, available to be posted through all the workflows that your staff is already familiar with, whether they work from Chart Central, whether they work from the daily billing summary. That e-super bill will be there for them to post it. And we even have a Chart Central button dedicated to text and email payments that you can set up at the bottom. And then to just kind of wrap up the entire process, when it comes to a receipt, one of the benefits not only of text to pay, but the global payments integration itself, is that we are able to store the credit card receipts in MedEnt. So when the patient pays via text to pay, they will receive a receipt via text or email, whatever method was used to send them the original statement and payment link. But maybe they have lost that email or that text and they're contacting the office for the receipt. Your staff can easily go to their ledger, access their receipt history for any payments that have been made through the global payments integration, and have the opportunity to not only print it for the patient, but again, send it electronically as a text or an email.
Yeah, and I mean, as a, as a patient myself, I love paying via via text or email. I mean, it's so convenient to just you get that email or text message as, hey, you've got this bill. You click the link, and with one tap, you just go, you put in your credit card information, you see the balance right at the top. You hit pay now, and boom, then you get your receipt. You can keep that receipt in text or email, or like you said, the practice can always go into Medent real easily to their receipt history and send it again if you misplace it. But I mean, there's nothing to me more convenient than being able to pay for something from my phone. So
Exactly.
yeah,
I
I
would
think
be in,
this really goes a long way for patient satisfaction.
it does. I would be embarrassed to admit the stack of mail that's on my kitchen table right now. To my credit, most of it is junk mail. I do pay my bills.
Yeah.
But if I get an email or a text, I'll tell you that bill gets paid a lot quicker because it's so easy and it doesn't get lost in that stack of mail. Um, yeah, from the patient perspective, this is what patients want, and we're so happy that our clients can offer it to their patients.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, so what if a practice is interested? What should a practice do if they're interested? How could they get started?
So we have some really great video tutorials on the feature if you're looking to dive in a little deeper and really see what it looks like, not only from the practice perspective, how things will work within MedEnt, but also what your patients will see. So that's kind of a good starting point to get a deeper look at it. From there, you do need to be set up with the global payments integration. That doesn't mean that you have to currently be set up. This is a really great reason to kind of make that change to an integrated credit card processing option, especially if you've been on the fence. I understand it can be a big undertaking for some offices. So, but this is a great incentive and reason to make that change. So you can reach out to Global Payments to get set up. You can reach out to us here at MedEnt, and we can submit your information to Global Payments to get you set up with a sales representative. And then from there, they work with you on the process for getting your merchant account set up. And not to get too far off of the text to pay subject, but with the global payments integration, taking text to pay out of the picture, there is a variety of features that you can take advantage of that just makes things more convenient for your office and again convenient for the patient, like online payments, payment through the patient portal, saving a card on file. That could be a whole nother podcast all in itself.
Delay pay. I
Um,
mean, there's so many different
exactly.
options with it's not just text to pay with global payments. There's a whole list of features that that integration offers for clients to make practices. To make a nice seamless workflow for practices and then also to, boost that patient experience and satisfaction and just make things simpler for everyone. Um, it's definitely like you said, it can be a big, it might seem like a big undertaking to, get started um, with an integration like this, but I do think that we have been working with global payments for several years now, and I think we've got a pretty seamless flow to get practices either switched or started with global payments. Um, so yeah, that's great.
Yeah, exactly. And I always like to tell people, the more ways that you give a patient to pay and the more convenient those ways are, the more likely you are to get paid. Um, so all of those features through the integration, not just text to pay, gives the patient the opportunity, the way to pay that works best for them. So that's if you're not already using global payments. If you are, but you're not using text to pay, all that you need is a quote from us here at Meta. The reason that we have a separate quote for the text to pay feature is to just outline the reduced cost of a text or email statement. We want to make sure you're aware of the reduced rate, how the pricing works as far as the feature. You're not charged anything additional. If anything, you're going to receive cost savings as patients opt out of paper and they're just receiving that text or email statement. So again, submit a support inquiry. We'll send you the quote, sign the quote. Once we get it, we enable the feature and you are good to go. You don't need to set up any additional merchant accounts with global payments. It's very easy to implement. Another area to kind of touch on is, okay, we have text to pay, but we're not seeing maybe the cost savings or, we're not sending as many as we would like. That kind of brings us back to the patient education piece that we touched on earlier of getting patients opted in, making it a part of the workflow for your staff. Any touch point with the patient, whether it's a check-in, a checkout, a phone call to pay the bill, just letting the patient know, hey, we're going to send your next statement via text and changing that setting within MedEnt. Um,
And to go off of that too, we do have some patient-facing resources as well. We have some brochures available to download and print, flyers that you could put at your office. So we do have those available for you as well. Those are under our patient resources on medent.com/connect. If you are interested and you're having trouble finding them, feel free to reach out with online support and somebody can send you those links. So we do have some patient-facing resources as well. I believe we even have some patient-facing tutorials that I worked on in the past as well. So that way you can share those too if folks are, you know, hesitant to have their statement sent via text. It just kind of goes a long way to show them, one piece of paper that has three simple steps. Here's what it looks like, and here's what your experience will be. That may go a long way as well.
Exactly. Those resources are wonderful, so easy to use, and can really go a long way with letting your patients know what you now offer so that they're eager to get opted in. They might even ask you to opt themselves in so your staff doesn't even have to remember to do it. If you can kind of get it from both ends, where you have staff educating the patient on it, and then also that education through the resources that we offer. It's a great way to build up those numbers of patients receiving the text or the email statements.
Yeah. And I did want to point out too, there might be folks listening that do statements via the portal, do portal statements. And I wanted to point out why would somebody who's using portal statements still want to switch or consider text to pay?
That's a great question, and there's a couple points to touch on there. When we talked about text to pay, we talked about modernizing the patient experience. Portal statements are wonderful. They were great when they came out about 10 years ago. But when we're talking about modernizing things, text to pay is much more convenient for your patients. They don't have to log into a portal account. They simply click a link and they are there to make their payment. Um, the also larger benefit is that text to pay can reach all of your patients, anybody that has an email or a mobile number, whereas portal statements can only be sent to a patient that has an active portal account. So portal statements are still a really great feature. The patient, if they've lost the text or email with their statement, they can always log into their portal account to get access to that. But when it comes to really collecting payments and getting cost savings and modernizing what you're offering your patients, text to pay is the answer for all of those needs.
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, thank you so much for coming on and talking it through with us. And I hope that people who are listening, I hope you got something out of this. I hope you're, excited to consider text to pay. And please reach out. You can submit an online support request to us here at MedEnt, medent.com. Click the support tab and send us some information if you're interested in either learning more about it or getting us getting started with text to pay and global payments. And yeah, thanks, Sarah, so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. Really enjoyed talking about the text to pay feature and looking forward to clients getting interested in getting set up.
Yeah, let's try to save your practice some money here and get you switched over. So yeah, we look forward to hearing from everybody, and I hope everyone has a great rest of their day.